Okay, this is Steve for TrueHollywoodTalk.com. We're with Paula Christensen, and she's with her movie Uno, Dos, Tres, okay, about her grandfather's poetry. Welcome to True Hollywood Talk.
Thank you, Steve. Happy to be here.
Now, how'd you come up with this idea about doing a film about your grandfather's poetry?
He wrote a book of poetry right before he passed away. He was actually one of the most prolific filmmakers in South America. So he was known as a filmmaker, but he was also a writer, which a lot of people didn't know. And one of the poems in the book really moved me and stuck out to me, so I adapted it to a short little screenplay, and I actually took it to my good friend Brenda, who's standing off camera, who is a wonderful producer, and she had the idea to bring on two other teams of directors and cinematographers to each pick a poem, adapt it for the screen, and then we wove the three mini films into one story.
Isn't it nice to have like rich friends that become producers?
Absolutely. It's the only reason I'm friends with her.
You have to, because, you know, there's friendship and then there's filmmaking, okay? So tell me, give us a little background, because your grandfather sounds like he was a very interesting soul, and may he rest in peace. Yeah. Didn't know that he passed. Tell us a little about his life. Who was he?
His life was very interesting. He was born in Argentina, a very old family, and old enough that they spoke Quechua, which is the Aztec language in the region. And he started out in radio, of course, like in the 30s, and soon moved to theater and then film. And he became one of the most prolific filmmakers. He made the first Technicolor film ever to be made in South America. He actually spent most of his life in Brazil because he was exiled in the 40s during the Peron dictatorship, when they wanted to make most of the films at the time government propaganda. He was the head of the Directors Guild at the time and sort of refused to be censored by the government. So he was pursued by the military and escaped one night. Actually, a friend of his in the military helped him steal a military plane off the base to fly to Brazil. And then he lived there until he passed away. He made many movies in Rio de Janeiro.
So it sounds like you got good character in the genes.
Yes. I'd like to think that I would also stand up to a dictatorship. I haven't been tested yet, though.
Maybe in a video game, right?
Right.
Let me ask you, what's been the response to the film, and how did you translate? It's not easy to take a poem and translate into the film. Did you storyboard it out? How did you start, and how did you know when to finish?
That's a great question. And actually, it's interesting because we had three directors and we each kind of went through a different process. My process was I kind of took some of the images that were metaphorical and made them literal. Like there's a description of a silence that's like a kite in flight. And so I took that image of the kite and made it a literal image in my film. And just kind of wove a little story around it. And some of the other directors, for instance, Robert Weiermair, whose lovely film is Voyage, is the third segment, he actually took a love poem. And so he was just sort of inspired. His line of thinking was sort of who may have written this poem, what may this poem have been about. And so he took a leap of imagination from the poem and kind of created a story about who the poem might be about. So, they're all a little bit, the inspiration for each was a little different.
Because anyone who reads a poem is going to have a different view of what that poem was anyway. So it kind of gives you how long was the film and what did you shoot it on?
The total film running time is 26 minutes. My segment was 7 minutes. And then there's another segment's 4 and then 11 minutes. And we shot it on 35 millimeter.
Old school, that's the way to go.
That's right. Well, we were, my grandfather was old school, so we shot it in his way.
What's next for you, Paula? What's on the horizon? I have a feeling this is not going to be the first film, that this is what you want to do in life.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as I'm not fleeing dictatorships, I will be making movies. I have a couple of shorts in the works, and then I wrote a play called In Vitro that was workshopped at the Public Theater in New York City, and has just been optioned by Wildcard Productions to be made into a feature. So I'm in the process of writing the feature, which I also hope to direct.
Where's home now? Where do you reside all year?
I reside in Los Angeles, in Santa Monica, technically.
There are good restaurants on Montana Street, and you do get less smog and better pollution. I do like Santa Monica. What's your feeling about the festival? Looks like the quality of films is very high here, so it looks like it's pretty prestigious for you to get in this event.
Yeah, we're really, really excited about that. And actually, we came to the opening last night, and I was really blown away by the films. It made me excited to see what's on the roster for the rest of the festival.
It's kind of got kind of a hip vibe. I mean, look at this kind of very interesting jewelry. She's one of those kind of hip chicks when you're like walking in Starbucks, you're like, I wonder if she's going to go out with me. Is she a director? Is she a model? Like, who is that sexy little thing? So does you just kind of get that. You got that kind of artistic vibe, but you got these like old soul eyes. So you seem like an interesting creature, to use a better term. Okay, tell us what's on the horizon after this film that you want to direct. Is there anything else that you want to do? Do you want to act? Just direct? What's really the future for you, Paula?
That's a good question. I mean, I think the future is definitely just creating in any capacity I can. I do act as well. I'm going actually back to Los Angeles to do a play with Stephanie Zimbalist from Remington Steele.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Isn't that exciting? She's actually a Juilliard-trained, fantastic theater actress. So there you go, a little tidbit. But so I am planning on continuing acting, writing, directing, doing whatever inspires me in the moment.
Well, there you go. We got a little gossip there about Stephanie, and you never know. You never know what's going to happen. That's right. TrueHollywoodTalk.com, and we're sure all the Matt Damons and the Brad Pitts, I'm sure you're all watching. Okay. This is Steve for True Hollywood Talk. Paula, you've been a delight. Please come on again and let us, know what's going on in your future, and get a cameo from me when you need like a hitman or something like that. Okay.
Would love to. Absolutely. Thank you.
This is Steve for True Hollywood Talk with kind of an interesting filmmaker. Paula, this is Steve. Thank you.